So in our relationship, when we're in the love phase, usually it's all very happy, but there are a few deal breakers, indicators, hints of which we probably have been given in that love drug phase.
Yes.
But one of them, or two of them I should say, how our loved one deals with people in restaurants and also driving.
Yes.
And will give indications of how they deal with possible stressful situations and anger. And particularly, I would have said,
people used to say, "Oh, the way he or she drove, oh, you could tell. I should have known."
Or treating people in restaurants.
Yes.
I mean,
that's drink, though, don't you think? That's more likely to be associated with
alcohol.
Drink.
Do you? I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure.
I think it's their natural
I think
style.
natural tendency. I think some people particularly treat restaurants very, very badly.
Yes.
And actually, I think that's quite a strong hint about how they could easily turn that rather sort of contemptuous behaviour onto you in the relationship when we come out of the love drug phase.
Yes. I suppose the most important one is infidelity.
Yes.
As a deal breaker.
Yes.
But not everyone feels that it is.
No.
It's very much dependent on the individual.
Yes.
You know, I know people who are quite happy with the adultery. One said, "Oh, it gives me time to get on with my own life." But then there are others for whom one unfaithful act
will be
a deal breaker.
Absolutely no. And I think that's what's gone to. We've got to know how we
know
ourselves.
Yes.
How would we feel if our partner committed adultery?
Yes.
We might not be bothered at all.
No.
It might suit us in our lifestyle to turn a blind eye. It's what we call in the book the Nelson approach, where you turn the blind eye and really don't care at all.
Yes.
But for somebody else, it will be a gross breach of trust.
Yes.
And the relationship will never, ever recover from it.
No.
So divorce is almost inevitable. But how do we feel about infidelity?
Yes.
Would
Would we do it ourselves? You know, that's sometimes the reaction of people.
Oh, the tit for tat.
Yeah.
The tit for tat.
Yes, or just not even tit for tat, but just they were sort of free in a way. I remember one person free. She was free of the
bonds,
the bond or the responsibility
of the relationship.
So she had a brief one herself and thoroughly enjoyed it. And they got back together and lived happily ever after.
But this is where we really have to know ourselves.
Yes.
We have to be self-aware. Somebody else could be completely and utterly devastated.
Yes.
And it's almost like a form of mental torture.
Yes, and it depends too on the time of life that it happens.
Yes.
If you're like an elderly couple and one of that couple decides to break it off because he's found some younger woman, that is devastating. You can handle it better when you're younger, possibly,
but not necessarily.
No.
But it certainly will erode the trust within the relationship.
It will, and that is something that does cause. We used to say, you know, that led to divorce. The loss of trust.
Yes, it's a loss of trust rather than anything else. And also I think the other one is violence within the relationship. And also this, although it's more likely that violence will be perpetrated by a man to a woman, it's one in four, but it's also 1 in 4 in same-sex relationships. And also there's been a huge growth in female violence against men.
Yes.
So that's really got to be handled, and you've got to be very, very alert.
Yes.
Because there's the famous metaphor, the boiled frog metaphor. If you dropped a frog into boiling water, it would jump out immediately. If we were hit on our first date, we would leave. Yes. But it's very insidious. Yes. You turn the heat up until the end. You're in the boiling water, or you're in the thick of a violent relationship, but you haven't quite understood how you've got there.
Yes.
So it's very important to be aware.
Yes, it is. Yes, and the other, well, we talk about many other deal breakers,
Yes.
but one significant one that we used to find was pretty much a deal breaker was alcohol, but I suppose drugs
Yes,
as well.
any addiction. Any addiction.
was a. But we talk about all of those in the
In the book.